Today we're checking out GoPro's newest, most affordable, but also most controversial camera, the GoPro Hero 4K. Let's check it out. GoPro basically intended this camera to be just a ready-to-shoot camera that you don't have to worry about the settings, you don't have to worry about adjusting anything. You essentially just power this on, select from one of the few different modes, and then you can just hit record and not really have to worry about anything. Which it seems like a pretty cool idea. You know, this is smaller than GoPro's standard cameras as well, and being half the price at $199, sometimes even cheaper on sale, versus GoPro's flagship $400 Hero 13 Black camera. First of all, let's check this thing out, take a look at the specs, some photo and video examples, and also I want to go over some of the biggest pros and cons I noticed while actually using this camera. And then of course at the end, I'll give my recommendations if I think this camera's worth its $200-ish price point, or if you should just save your money and just go a different route altogether. Alright, first up, the main selling point of this camera is going to be its price point. Like I already mentioned, this is $199, but I've actually already seen this on sale at $179, and I wouldn't even be surprised if on certain days or certain deals we see it on sale for even less than that. And now I will have links down in the description for the most updated pricing of this if you want to check out what the current pricing is, or if you do want to purchase it. And so in the box, you pretty much get the camera, a little mount, a USB cable, and that's pretty much it for the most part. But you can see right away how tiny this camera is. So it's smaller than GoPro's normal flagship cameras, and it only comes in at 86 grams, which is pretty ridiculous. Like, this camera is so tiny and so light. You can pretty much put this thing anywhere without ever noticing the size and weight of it. Now also, this camera is waterproof up to 12 feet without a case. You don't need to put those waterproof cases that a lot of older GoPros used to have. And also a lot of off-brand cameras still need those waterproof plastic cases. With this GoPro, you don't need to worry about that. It's just waterproof straight out of the box, as long as all the doors are closed securely and everything like that. Alright, next up, for video and photo quality, you can record 4K 30 frames per second, which is the highest quality this can record in. This will essentially be the standard video option and what you typically get out of this camera. But if you do want to shoot some slow motion, this can do 2.7K at 60 frames per second, which will give you slightly smooth slow motion video. And then we have 4:3 video. This is just a slightly taller aspect ratio, and it just gives you a slightly taller field of view. This is a good mode if you want to do both vertical and horizontal video, or if you just want to get the absolute widest angle and capture as much as you possibly can. But this is also at a lower resolution, not 4K. And then lastly, you can also take 12 megapixel photos with this camera too, which actually look pretty good. They're pretty sharp as well. And besides that, there's a menu up here that you can kind of change a few things. You can lock the screen, turn on voice commands, turn on beeps, the screensaver. You can see how much space is on your SD card. And then there are some deeper settings in here. A lot of it's just repeating what you can do already on the front menu, but you can go slightly deeper into some of the preferences. There's just no video quality or, you know, really quality related settings in here that you can change. And so that's pretty much all you get with the Hero 4K. But of course, I'm going to show you plenty of video and photo examples in different environments and scenarios so that you can really see what the video quality looks like out of this. Now I'm also going to show a decent amount of comparisons between this and the Akaso Brave 4. That's an even more budget-friendly action camera than the Hero 4K is, in case you're just looking for the absolute cheapest action camera that gives you decent quality video. I know this isn't the most direct comparison, but these are still both ultra-budget action cameras, just from different brands. And so I hope those comparisons help you out a little bit too. I'm just going to toss those in every once in a while. Next up, for battery life, I'm going to get into some of the cons of the battery in this camera in just a little bit. But for battery life in this camera, I was able to record 4K 30 frames per second for about an hour and a half, which is pretty solid honestly for how small this camera is and having a built-in battery. I'm really happy to see a full hour and a half of recording 4K video with this. And then for charging the battery, you can charge this with the included USB-C cable, and then you can also transfer all your footage off this camera with the USB-C cable as well. But of course, for storage, this also has a micro SD card slot, which you need to record video on this camera. And I'll also link my recommended micro SD card down in the description as well. And so for the specs of this camera, that's pretty much all you're getting. All right, so let's get into some of the pros and cons of the Hero 4K. So first of all, for the pros of this, I mean, this really is just a simple grab and go, just turn on and start recording action camera. Like there's not much you have to worry about. There's not much you really can worry about. You know, you pretty much set the video mode way you want, whether you want standard video or slow motion video, and then you just hit record. Now this does have a nice wide angle lens, which I really enjoy. So really this is gonna capture almost everything you're pointing it at, but if you need to, you can crop in from there a little bit. Also, obviously this is such a tiny camera. You can put it anywhere, you can mount it anywhere, and you won't even really notice the size and weight of it. Also, just for the ease of use and the simplicity of it, there is a voice control mode. So you can say, you know, GoPro take a photo, GoPro start recording, whatever other commands they have in there. And you can pretty much control this without having to actually touch it or grab onto it. Now there are definitely some cons to bring up though. So since this camera's released, it's been a pretty polarizing camera for lots of different reasons. Mostly because GoPro just stripped away almost every single feature from this camera that allows you to customize it and allows you to adjust settings and things how you typically want to in order to get the best quality footage. Again, I've already hit this nail on the head enough, but this camera is so simple that you really just kind of turn it on and start recording. There's just not much you can do with it. Also, there's no removable battery. So at some point, this battery is going to go out and you're just going to need to throw this camera away or buy a new one or pay for a battery replacement if GoPro would ever even do that. And this also means if the camera dies, you can't just quick swap the battery out and have a bunch of extras ready to go. You literally just have to stop recording and sit and wait for it to charge. Also, this does have a removable lens and there's ND filter replacements available from third parties that I've seen, but I don't think there's even a replacement standard lens available from a third party or even from GoPro right now. Like I cannot find a replacement lens for this. So again, I might be totally mistaken, and if there is, I will link it down in the description. But literally months after this camera was released, there still isn't a replacement lens available, which is just really weird and annoying. So stabilization is kind of a weird situation. The GoPro Hero doesn't actually have stabilization. However, if you import the footage onto the GoPro app on your phone, it'll automatically add GoPro's, you know, hyper smooth, I think it's called, stabilization in the app. And then your footage will have supposedly good stabilization. But the biggest issue with that on the GoPro is that if you import the footage from the SD card onto your computer or something like that, there's no stabilization and there's no way to get it. You have to like wirelessly transfer your videos from your GoPro to your phone, stabilize it in the app, and then export it from there and put it on your computer if you want to do any sort of editing or things like that. Now, obviously, if you do everything on your phone, then it's kind of great for that. But again, for most people, like especially myself, I take the SD card out, put it on my computer, and just go from there. And you know, in that case, there's no stabilization with the GoPro. Now, just in case you're curious, I have these mounted with this iFootage suction cup right now on my windshield. I've been using this thing for a few years and it works awesome. I've put mirrorless cameras on here and I mean, way more weight than these are right now. And this thing is seriously secure. Obviously, I'd recommend more than one if you put like a real mirrorless camera on here or something bigger. But for action cameras like these, this is an awesome setup, which I will link this down in the description if you do want to check it out. All right, lastly for the cons of this camera, and this one's kind of tough because again, this is a $200 camera, and you really can only expect a certain amount from a $200 camera of any type. But the video quality coming out of this camera, even in 4K, is just a little bit dull, it's a little bit dark, it's a little bit grainy and noisy. Overall, the video quality coming out of this camera just isn't amazing. I don't want to say it's bad, and it isn't bad. And if you add some brightness, maybe some saturation, you know, in your editing software, you can make it pop and just look a little bit better. If there's a situation where you could just use your iPhone or something like that, it will look a lot better than this. But again, this is a $200 camera. This is specifically a camera meant for beginners and meant for people that don't want to worry about all this other stuff in video quality and resolution, frame rates, colors, log video, anything like that. If you're someone that just really does not want to worry about any of that and you just want a camera that you don't have to think about, you can just turn on, hit record, you know, just mount it to your helmet, mount it to your bike or something like that, and just get some decent quality video with a really rugged waterproof camera at an extremely affordable $200 or less price point. I do really think this is a decent option, but for everybody else, if you really want the best bang for the buck you can, honestly, I would recommend just looking at used GoPros. Essentially the newest used used GoPro you can find at this price point will be a lot better than this camera is at $200. And so I really hope this video helped you out with your buying decision. If it did, please consider dropping a like and subscribing to my channel. But that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.